trying to figure out audio problems.
Yeah, so then we want to watch me compile also.
As the old Linux proverb goes, if you're watching a video of a tree falling and you can't hear it, you're probably using Linux.
Hey, I like that one.
Yeah, this is yeah, I'm not even gonna go into the specifics of it, but you guys know, just when you doing one hardware event just destroys the whole audio stack for some reason. So it's good stuff. So thanks everyone sticking around for this though, because this is quite annoying. But yeah, we out here. Welcome everybody. It's ThugCrowd time. So,
oh yeah.
How was everybody's week so far?
Pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Well, I haven't had to touch Alsa, so
It's a good week.
It is a good week.
Yeah. No, pretty cool. I've had the week off. I've been went out on a little mini vacation. It was nice. I got to see nature for the first time in my life.
Nature.
For what it felt like. No, it was awesome actually. I went to some cool places. I saw a lot of beautiful sights and ate some good food. And so now I'm back and ready to, do a bunch of things this rest of the week.
Back to the dumpster fire.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you have some recharged energy so you can deal with those Linux audio problems.
Well, I guess in your case it's a new dumpster fire.
But yeah, no, everything's going chill though. So anyone working on any cool projects this weekend?
Well, I did the DB script thing. I was playing around with that.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't see that until after.
You're fine.
Put it out. We'll put it out in the next week's show notes, unless you want to talk about it right now.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty simple. Just I like deobfuscating things because I hate myself. So I spent a good part of the weekend just pulling apart this VB script thing and unpacking it. It had a lot of really interesting anti-debugging things in place. I checked a lot of system specs. It did this weird thing where basically it pops up an alert and it times how long it takes for you to close that alert box. So if you have something that's automatically closing it, then it will just kill the script, which is a fun technique. Anyways,
that's cool. Oh yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely put that in the notes for next week for anyone who wants to check it out. Because yeah, we definitely see a lot of really weird obfuscated stuff, and it's usually just more of an exercise in patience rather than actual skill. It's just
it's just execute this little non-malicious snippet, see what the output is, that kind of stuff.
Yes, keep it rocking. Yes, it's a lot of fun stuff though. Definitely hate JavaScript a lot.
Yeah, and this is VB script, so it's worse.
Oh yeah, it's a VB script as well. Yeah, no, goddamn, I hate it all, and PHP.
What's up?
Hey, what's up?
Sorry, I was just making sure you guys could hear me, but
yeah,
you're good.
So I've been working on some new chat challenges in my week off. Ooh. So we just aren't going to announce them. You'll just have to take a look at our Twitter and random places where you might communicate with us, and you'll maybe see something. And if you see something, don't say anything and just follow the challenge, and you'll be in our midst. We're going to be definitely doing limited amounts of auth tokens every time we do it for a little bit, just to see what happens. Probably be limited to a very few. So you have to be one of the first people to solve it to get it. And it also will hopefully not give you an incentive to share it with the world. There'll be a lot of more interesting anti-debug and anti-sharing tricks as well. So rip to you.
Yeah, we're actually scanning Craigslist, eBay, GitHub, all the places where you could be selling.
We did make a Reddit to help us out a little bit. We have r/ThugCrowd if anybody wants to join that too, to share links with us. We'd love to see. Because we were Dade made it for us a while back, and it was definitely underutilized. So we should start using it a bit more to cross-post information, because there's a lot of stuff that I wanted to get more involved in it, because I saw that there was a lot of random ThugCrowd screenshots in different parts of Reddit that just had a ton of interactions. That I'm like, wow, we just have not capitalized on this at all.
Yeah.
Yo, what up?
Hey,
What's
what's
up,
up,
Tom
Ian?
Skillet?
Yo.
Also,
So,
shouts out to Dade, who's been streaming Natless development on Twitch.tv.
Yeah, definitely check out Dave's stream. He's awesome.
Is he still streaming?
Not like right this moment, but he has been.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
yeah.
Yeah. I've been trying to promote that whenever I can. That's good stuff.
So yeah. All right, let's just jump right into it. There's a lot of news here. So this is probably the most news that we've collected in a while. It's in part due to there just being a lot of things that happened that were really interesting, but also a lot of people shared stuff with us, which is really cool. We got tagged in a lot of things. If you ever see anything interesting or you want to share something with us, just CC at ThugCrowd on Twitter, and we'll pick it up and review it. And if it's cool, we'll throw it in our show notes.
And if it sucks, we might not.
Yeah, sorry.
Depends on how busy the week is.
Remember, send us good
Yeah, that's
news.
right.
Don't send us
That's right.
bad
If it sucks, I've no.
It could be a really quiet week and it'll show up anyway.
We don't want to focus too much on that. Just make sure that you need to do something. It's with passion. That's all I really care about. It doesn't have to
Own it. Just
all
own the
really
fact that
matters.
you sent us news.
When you do something, just think, would John McAfee be proud of me right now?
Then
And
you
if the
probably
answer is
stop
yes,
doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. It's like the time you whip up bath salts. Like, would John be proud of me right now? He's hella proud. Like,
So, the first story that we have on here is a pretty big one that came out recently. This was about Cyberbunker that was it was raided, and people were arrested, and it's just a huge dumpster fire for them.
Was it a cyber bunker?
It was an actual bunker. It was an actual NATO military bunker in Germany, and
But like, is that what they call it?
yeah, they called it Cyberbunker.
Huh.
It's
So-
painted on the wall. Yeah.
Cyberbunker had posted a lot of dark web markets and other illicit places. And they also were involved in a bunch of sketchy stuff like DDoS attacks and things like that. Also, I love that there was another one, the original Cyberbunker. There was a MDMA lab in the same bunker, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
But
John
they-
would be proud of that.
Yeah.
yeah, John would be proud of that.
But yeah, they definitely. I don't know. This is just one of those things where just you play stupid
I was
games and win stupid prizes, I guess.
I was actually gonna get a rack, not a rack, but some hosting with them, because with Packetel, I needed hosts that didn't give a shit about what was on the network, really.
Yeah.
They were one of them, but they were actually surprisingly expensive.
Oh, yeah,
to host.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's the only reason I probably don't have a seized server right now.
That's what so that's the thing about this, like, bulletproof hosting, context down, blah blah blah. It's like it has the things that attract people who are doing internet, like, because if you just scan stuff from Amazon, your box gets turned off, you have to respond to a thing, it gets like turned off, the network traffic gets stopped and whatever like that. There's a lot of things in place. Like, if you want to do any minor stuff, you need at least a decent host to run your boxes on. But the second that you want anything that could like be hosted next to a CP box or something like that,
Well, so my view of it was, if if a packet of theirs tends to make it their way towards my box and I happen to notice it and they get owned, then who's to blame? Who's to blame in the situation?
right. It's just,
I guess, actually, because I would be owning their box. But in that hypothetical situation, yeah, I mean, you're definitely playing, unfortunately, with some really nasty people that are doing heinous things. When you get
it seems to be like the same magnet is attracting two different things. You know what I mean? Like, you want it for one reason, they want it for way worse reasons, and then it leads to not a cool thing called Cyberbunker, where it's like it's an uncool thing called Cyberbunker.
Yeah.
But speaking of bunkers, do you recall the acid bunker in the States? So like,
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
No. What's up with that?
it was a dude who was manufacturing LSD in a massive like military bunker.
Oh,
Yeah,
one of the missile
And,
sites. Yeah.
It was a party bunker, but my favorite thing about that story is there was an undercover cop on the job, and he had grown a beard so that he'd fit in, you know, like doing his work. And during the final raid, he went out to the car and he dry shaved with like a disposable razor, and so he'd like cut himself and whatever. Like basically, you know, not the best way to shave for anyone who shaves their
Right.
face. And when he went when he went into the bunker, he basically just like absorbed shitloads of LSD and had to be taken to the hospital.
Oh no.
And like then they didn't have a bed for him in the hospital, so they had to put him in the children's ward. And there's like
Oh,
dragons on the
God.
wall and shit. So he was like flipping out in the children's ward. There's like flying dragons and shit. He's like, because you know, this is like more LSD than any normal person could ever ingest. And I think he got a full pension off that one.
I just like the fact that there's
I
such
wish.
a thing as a party bunker.
Yeah.
Like,
There's
so, like
actually-
what you're doing
Oh
is,
yeah.
if that's an intense enough party that it has to be done in a bunker, it's got to be a pretty wild party.
Yeah.
There's
I think
There's
there might be
actu-
one in Vegas actually. I think maybe we should look into that since our
Yeah.
balloon or our satellite idea got stolen. Let's look into a party bunker.
Yeah, party bunker next year. So the next story that we have on here is a pretty big story that happened this week. This is an interview with the person who had released the Checkmate exploit for iOS and like Apple devices. In the cheat code section, if you want to see the actual source code for it, that is there. I included this just because it was a bit easier if you wanted to read it and had no idea what the background was. But basically, somebody, AxiomX, had released a boot ROM exploit for 11 generations of iPhones. So it's pretty stunning because their boot ROM stuff is not that common for jailbreaks. And so this person basically released something that is not patchable to Apple because boot ROM things are read-only. So if you can find a vulnerability in the code that is used to bootstrap the phone, you pretty much are not going to be able to ever change it. It's going to stay that way on that device. But so because this works on so many different iPhones, this is basically enabling jailbreaking on a ton of different devices, like millions, hundreds of millions.
There's a couple that it mixes out though. I think the 10XS doesn't, and there's one other one that doesn't as well.
I think it's everything below XS.
Yeah, but that's like the very latest. So this is like if you have an iPhone,
That's like
you know,
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also like how they timed it in time after the new phone launch.
Yeah, right after the
Like,
release.
They're like, okay, like if we're having an unpatchable exploit here, we wait till after.
Something I'm always curious about with this kind of stuff, like I know that with Android, there's been a few cases where like you can use local privesc to get, to root it, right? But like I'm wondering if this has other security implications, right?
So the points that the exploit developer wanted to make was that there's not any remote execution.
Oh yeah, it needs physical access.
It
Yeah.
has to
Okay.
be physically accessed. It only works if it's tethered, and it also needs to it has to run each time the device boots, and it also doesn't bypass any of the security protections. So like if you don't have a pin on if there's a pin enabled or Touch ID or anything like that, it's not going to be able to bypass that. So you basically have to already completely own the iPhone to actually do anything on it. But what it does allow is for people to develop and sideload whatever they want to on it, the same way they would hack on any other jailbroken device.
What it
And
does,
it's like you could chain it with something else, right? Like if you were to find a authentication bypass or some other.
You potentially could, but realistically, you would have that auth bypass already. I mean, it's not really known that it's as of like the writing of this and the
there's
right now. There's not really anything that's going to be weaponizable by malware. It's more just like a way to unlock the phone.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things with it that is like your entire file system or whatever is encrypted. Where the pin is stored on later iOS devices is not anywhere accessible. Like you can't retrieve it. As far as I know, you can't anyway, or attempt to crack it. So, like that encrypts your that's like a follow-on effect of file system, and then like key bags and then keychains and so on and so forth. So like plug it in, jailbreak it. Like you don't plug it in and then be like, oh look, I got like everything. Like you still need.
Yeah. So that's before the boot ROM happens. Is that?
This is during boot ROMs. So this is like yeah. So this is like right before everything happens. So if you had like a malicious way to deploy it, like I don't know, some sort of lightning cable that can bit bang things, OMG cable, like you could possibly chain it with later attacks, but to jump that gap, wait for the user to unlock it or something. But then you still require user interaction. You're not going to trick someone into doing it. But one of the cool things that it did that I read just briefly was that it does allow like JTAG debugging after, which I don't know how hard that. I'm sure it's not just like a enable JTAG flag, but yeah, once you can start doing that, it opens up the exploit, the vulnerability detection a whole lot more.
Didn't someone just release a little like hardware JTAG thing for iPhones?
I'm not sure.
I swear I saw something about that on Twitter.
I mean, there was this does enable it, so, but yeah, it's pretty crazy. Oh man, the way that it. So iPhone 3, if you remember, there was like a buffer overflow in like the certificate check, that verified the firmware that was about to boot. Do you guys remember that?
Possibly.
And it just like that is like, okay, that's it forever now. That's the end of the iPhone 3.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, this is
on Silicon.
This is a fun time for iPhone security or iOS security.
Yeah, absolutely. I realized I was muted. I said I do not know that. But yeah, definitely a fun time. I mean, yeah, if you are interested in learning more about iOS stuff, there's some really great write-ups that are floating around. There's some stuff in our show notes too. So check those out if you are interested. So, Nux, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Nux?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's up?
Okay, cool. Hey,
so the next story that we have on here involves our pal Nux. Do you want to talk about what happened this week?
Yeah, so AT&T recently opened a bug bounty program through HackerOne within the last couple of months. I can't remember the exactly when it went live, but so I was just doing some recon and finding subdomains and stuff, like kind of like deep hidden stuff that nobody really finds, and I came across like the E-rate portal, and there was a GET request. So I started messing around with that, trying different things, and nothing worked. But I don't know if you guys have ever tried to use -1 on a blind SQLi. Like, so if it was like, for example, this was reason equals 6, and you did -1 after that, it would actually load reason equals 5. So that's like a way to get like a visual representation of like a blind SQLi.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but fuck making blind SQLi payloads to actually do anything useful. So I put it in SQL map, and literally within 2 requests, it was going to redirect to tips.fbi.gov, but it actually took the GET parameter along with the payload and added it to the web directory that it was requesting on the FBI subdomain, and effectively forwarding an attack to the FBI with no refer header. So it looked like I literally just decided to either SQL map the FBI or just try and attack it.
Wait, were you?
Cool.
So you're saying that you were intentionally attacking the FBI for no reason at all? What's wrong with you?
Yeah,
that's crazy. That is really wild.
And gotta wonder how many people hit that before you did.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that this was something that was in place before the bug bounty. I really don't think
Yeah.
that somebody set out and was like, "Oh, we're gonna get these bug bounty
Well,
kids."
so-
Like,
The fact that it's the tip site makes it worse, in my opinion.
right?
Like, if it's just the, root domain, then that's not doing anything. But if it's tips, like, you could be spamming the hell out of the FBI with a bunch of random tips.
Well,
Oh,
it,
Yeah.
like what if it would have just redirected to the domain without adding the freaking GET request, that would have been totally different. But that's not what it was doing, and it was funny because it seemed like nobody cared until that article came out. Like,
But it's also like if you go to tips.fbi.gov, it pops up this huge warning that's like, if you submit a tip that's invalid, you're like subject to fine and imprisonment of both. It's like, my god!
It's like it's the equivalent of filing a false police report.
Right? Yeah, and they're God. Ugh.
Hey, I'm curious. Did the FBI reach out to you?
Oh no, they did not.
They're not
Yeah.
doing
That's
their job, are
interesting.
they?
Yeah, I mean,
It's
so
not the same as submitting the form, though, right? You're filling up their Apache logs with bullshit.
yeah.
I mean, assuming that you don't hit the right endpoint, yeah, probably not. But it's still possible that you could, right? Like,
Yeah.
especially if you're spidering it.
Yeah, I think that like one of the things that's what people had made the point a bunch was that it's akin to like I wouldn't say swatting, but I definitely would say that it's like entrapment in a way or something. It's like basically just like it's such a niche weird scenario, but it puts the people who are doing the research at risk. Which one, if you're like a regular like website and you don't get a lot of traffic and you do something like that just for like yucks, that's one thing. But if you have an in-scope URL and you're doing a professional bug bounty, this like it's just such a wrong thing to do. Like it's just,
I mean,
I don't know.
I think
Even if you're not
Max
doing
did
it,
make
it's
a good
still
point.
like, even if you're not doing it though, like even if it was done before the bug bounty program, I still don't feel like that's an ethical way to do it, right? Like there's other ways to
Definitely not.
signal stuff, and it's like you're not getting any like valuable information from that either.
Honestly, I had a different take. I thought it was hilarious, and I still think it's hilarious. Like, and that's just personal
Yeah.
preference, but it's what I would call like an active measure, right? Like
Mhm.
it's an active intrusion detection system that not
So
only
yeah,
detects the intrusion, it forwards and messes with the attacker. I think it's funny. I that's some kind of that I actually literally used to do that on my
Yeah,
site.
but,
I mean, I
but the
guess, like-
difference is though is that you weren't running a bug bounty program that was like
I wasn't.
setting people up to do that and inviting people to do that, which is I think the key difference.
With
If you're
the
doing it
promise
and
of
it's like
pay.
if it's just for yucks, like that's one thing.
Well, I think also like,
But again, Nux even agreed that this was probably set up long before the bug bounty ever even existed.
but I think also just in general, like, can you imagine AT&T.com doesn't have a bug bounty program? Imagine how much stuff they just get barraged with every single day, right? Like,
oh yeah,
even if it's like an active defense measure, right? Like you're intentionally redirecting them to FBI, so FBI sees it, I guess. Like you're still potentially taking up FBI resources and directing malicious traffic to the FBI, right? Like
I believe that they probably were getting attacked regularly by somebody and said,
I'm sure
okay,
they
I know
are.
what I'm going to do. I'm going to redirect it to the FBI, and then the FBI will investigate it. And that's probably actually literally what happened.
It's definitely an old way of thinking of like, I'll just tell the FBI about this criminal.
Right.
Who's
Yeah.
chasing me. But being AT&T and running a bug bounty, wanting results, this definitely is going to leave just the article, even if anyone wasn't involved with it, will leave a sour taste in the mouth of any potential bug bounty hunter who was about to embark on their AT&T journey. Like they're now going to be like, yeah, so they're just going to report me to the FBI if I try and find something instead of paying me. Like I'm going to go somewhere that's going to pay me.
Although, think about this, right? You're out there, you're trying to like use some sick days on AT&T, and you get a call back from the FBI instead.
But you're not going to get a call back from the FBI. Like honestly, it's more likely that you crash the FBI website. Like just I don't know. I feel like I have more confidence in AT&T.com standing up to abuse than FBI.
You know what? I disagree. I think they'll both fall over.
I was just gonna say they're both equally incompetent.
I think another thing here is like, how the hell didn't they notice that? Do they not have people who are regularly auditing their sites? Did the people who are auditing them not notice that?
I don't think the FBI notices it.
gotta read logs.
AT&T. Like,
I don't think
I don't,
either of
I don't
them
think either one of them give a single shit.
AT&T
Yeah.
has an MSSP for sure. So
I
the
don't think they
MSSP probably just tuned it out.
Yeah,
They
I'd say
probably
they
just-
just tune those like Splunk logs and or whatever, and we're just
I
like
don't know.
anything.
I feel
from
like
these
they have to
logs-
have external auditors, right? Like, there's certain compliances that they probably need at least some of that stuff for.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's kind of surprising that nobody has seen that before, if it's not a new thing.
I guess the
I-
takeaway
well-
from this is if you're setting up a bug bounty program that you should and you're creating your scope, you should go through it and make sure that the things in your scope are actually the things in your scope. Like, don't
Yeah, I mean, like, you need to know what your assets actually do and how they behave before you can set up a bug bounty program.
especially when you're telling people like this is what you're allowed to hack, like this is the terms of our agreement, in terms of our engagement, and then you don't even know what's in there. So how
Right.
can you,
Yeah.
I
what a
mean,
silly agreement.
also part of like the bug bounty thing is, right, you don't know like where there's shit going where on a lot of your stuff. You're paying people to figure it out. This is just a
Yeah, you shouldn't be though. That's
a bit of a different thing, right? So it's just
well, it
like,
was their
okay,
was
well,
it
thanks for finding it.
so it wasn't their main site, so I'll give them that. At least it wasn't, the TLD, but still.
What was it? What site was it?
erate.atnt.com.
E-rate?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it looks like something that may not be used a lot, like an internal discount thing.
Yeah, like what does it
it's
look
like-
like a site that people were probably trying to own a lot, or what? Get inside the head of the blue team here. What do you think made them go to this length?
I mean, I don't know, because it's like it's like for schools and stuff to get discounts for like phone and internet services. It's like
I mean,
their
to be
login
fair,
stuff.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, you could brute force the hell out of this with a PIN number, and they have a build
Yeah.
entity number and a PIN number, and I'm sure you could find some interesting information.
Well,
And it does
Yeah.
have a bit. It has like a huge, big legal disclaimer that's like unauthorized or attempted unauthorized access, blah blah blah. So they cover themselves for like the active defense stuff, but
That's
still-
probably
I bet you there's other interconnects behind that might be of interest to outsiders that
yeah,
they got desperate and put some barriers up.
I mean, it's also possible that somebody was just brute forcing pins here. They're like, oh, see ya.
Yeah, exactly. They brute force the pins, and they're like that's the original defense, and then they go, okay, someone's brute forcing pins. Just if more than n requests come in with like burst or whatever, redirect to the FBI. Like fail to ban type shit.
Yeah, what was the trigger? Was it the SQL injection or was it the RAID?
Wait, could you say that again?
What actually triggered the redirect? Do we know?
Oh,
Was it the SQL injection? Was it the RAID?
Yeah, it was the SQL statements, because just select alone would do it.
So that's weird. I'm wondering if because if it was a brute force, that would make sense. But if it's SQL, then did they have blind SQL and we're like, hey, we'll just send you over here so that we don't have to worry about it.
And you know what? The funny part is that I got so distracted that I never finished testing that, and I'm almost positive that it was.
Oh, vulnerable?
Yeah.
Really?
It's
How-
probably
yeah.
not. It's not anymore. It's definitely not anymore. But
Oh, why did they take it down?
well, I mean, yeah, they went and took that down, so they looked at everything.
Ah,
I mean,
One
it's
of those
still
ones
up,
that
or at least
where
it's up
they-
right now.
where you use the mod rewrite, and you just have you ever seen a mod rewrite that someone's put up and inside it is like a regex match for select union.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
And then-
yeah, that's all
Yeah.
they're doing. That's
Yeah.
guarantee it.
It's just such a simple, filthy way. And it's like, oh, okay, let me, and for anyone who's listening that needs to get around that thing, you just put a quote in the middle of your // in the middle of select somewhere, and you bypass
Or like
that.
a null byte.
Yeah,
what
null
they
byte,
do.
like some bullshit like that. You're like, okay.
Yeah,
bypass.
encode it. There's just so many options, and
Yeah.
they're all available in the tamper module of SQL map.
So it's like, it's really interesting. But even from like a defensive perspective, there's no advantage that you get from redirecting the traffic to the FBI. Like,
I mean, people do a lot
I mean,
of stuff
outside
that
of
makes no sense all the time.
yeah, I mean, I guess honestly, if the site was actually vulnerable to SQL injection, you redirect them to the FBI. I suppose that could scare off some of the skids, maybe.
But you know what? Okay, like so we've theorized about a whole bunch of different ways they could have done this. You know what's easier than any of that? Like just fixing the fucking SQLite. It's not that hard.
I don't know. It's corporate America, man.
Well, and it's also it's Hanlon's razor, right? Like it's most likely just some stupid mistake or joke that somebody made and then just forgot to turn back off, right? Like
Yeah.
I think that we could theorize about all these great, like ways of doing it that they decided they wanted to do, but I think there was no real premeditation for this. I think it was probably just random. Like, hey, let's redirect the FBI.
Damn it! I just remembered a meme that I left up as a server.
Memes as a server, MAAS.
Yo, so let's all move on to the next story here. Do you think we could get MG on here? Is he around? This is a story about him. I mean, his lightning cables are going to be mass produced. Pretty cool.
Why don't we move on to the next one and I'll ping him?
Yeah, all right. So the next one is definitely takes the cake for headline of the year. Shout out to Samantha Cole at Vice for the headline, "Threesome blowjob scene on giant highway billboard could have caused an accident." Such a ridiculous headline, but yeah. So anyways, somebody just broadcast porn to a highway sign, and yeah, I mean it's highway signs are the big billboards. Kecksec released their 0 day on how they actually were able to do all their sign hacking. I'm not sure if this is the same system. It has not been reported, but people have said that this billboard specifically regularly just displays a Windows desktop and not anything else.
Oh,
so,
people know it.
Oh no.
So this is like a notorious billboard. That's funny.
Yeah, so people already knew that it was just like broken all the time, which
That's
is just
great.
why this is the icing on the cake of it. I mean, who knows how this was managed or anything, but
well, clearly it was managed by porn.
I mean, yeah, but that just goes to show the state of what these things are. Really, they're not really anything special. They're just monitors that are attached to a computer. I mean, a lot of signs are like that, but yeah, these sort of big signs like this, usually you can just VNC or RDP into them and just have at it. That's pretty much.
I feel like it'd be a really weird time to be a police officer. You just have all this shit to deal with. You'd be like, I would never expect to talk about this.
Yeah, no, I mean this is the logical conclusion of it. I mean, people who were doing sign hacking in the past have usually just done something with like a meme or like some sort of culture jamming type thing where they have like a slightly off ad, which is like I always think pretty respectable. If you're gonna do something, at least make it funny. This is pretty just ridiculous. I mean, it's funny, but at the same time, it's like you definitely could have caused an accident. You definitely could have like scarred some little kid for life who was driving down the highway with his parents.
Come on.
Nah, man, come on. Like,
Get out of here. Get out of here, dude.
Well,
Whatever. Whatever.
I mean, the real damage is I honestly think that there's definitely people who would just stare at the billboard and get into an accident. That's
so they didn't though. Nobody fucking died and no kids scarred for life. What are we talking about here?
Yet.
These are all hypotheticals.
Yeah, we gotta wait a few years and see if any of them go crazy, and that's how you know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Just wait.
At least another 10 years.
Trace it all back to this one story. I mean, I'm not saying that any of this would particularly harm somebody, but it definitely is one of those things where, yeah, it's like this sort of thing. If you weren't to do it illegally, if you were to be a sign contractor that did this, you would get an FCC fine of like several tens of thousands of dollars for that. So it's an interesting thing where, I mean, people who do broadcast intrusions as well, people who broadcast porn on like the Super Bowl or
I was just gonna say Super Bowl.
I mean, those
Shout
kind of
out
things.
Russell League.
I'm actually curious as to like, I wouldn't be that surprised if these guys still got a fine for that because it's their sign, right? Like they really should. I mean, it was their responsibility, their sign.
Someone physically broke into a shed And
Do you know what they're actually called? They're called the blowjob billboard bandits.
No,
Nice.
are
They're
they
calling
have a
him.
Twitter? Yes.
Yeah, I'm reading the article about they actually have photographed these two freaking nerds in hoods and glasses and
Yeah.
there's
Oh
the
yeah, that's the other picture. I was wondering if that was related or not. That was awesome.
blowjob
Those,
bandits. That's
they
amazing.
were
That's
they're just like
hilarious.
hazmat suits. It looked like.
I think it's funny. I have no issues with it.
I would
yeah,
not
is
get
it
on
is
this.
it
Do this
going?
every day,
it-
please, for the love of God, make my day, please.
So there's absolutely room for people to get in accidents by being distracted by billboards, and that's exactly why all billboards should be banned. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Billboards like this
Same.
are obnoxious. Imagine if you had to live underneath this billboard and it was just playing porn.
Oh my God. Or just
funny,
like,
dude.
I like this dystopia. I like this
It'd be
cyberpunk.
funny
You
for
know,
like
that-
5 minutes. It'd be funny for like 5 minutes, but then if it was like if it had audio, I'd be so mad. I get mad at the giant trucks that pass by my house, let alone just like porn playing.
Hello, police. Yes, the
Oh my
the
God.
blowjob is upsetting my dogs.
You know what's funny is there's literally trucks that basically play porn in Vegas, right? Like those
Yeah,
things
they
that have
do.
like the nudity on it.
Oh,
They're
It's the most
also-
obnoxious thing ever. Like, I don't know, having anything like that is just ridiculous. But yeah, especially billboards that play video. Maybe that's why these kids did it. Why these people did it.
This reminds me of like Idiocracy type thing. Like, you know, if you remember in Idiocracy, the movie, like where he is like, can we go to Starbucks? And he's like, we don't have time for a hand job. Because in the future, everybody's so dumb, they just skip the dopamine, caffeine, and they replace it with hand jobs.
Yo, Brad, it has molecules, man. Come on.
Yeah, it's Rondo. It's got
Got the electrolytes the plants crave.
Do that. Hello.
Oh, so
Rejoining. Yeah, my my audio is actually really lagged. It was really odd. But that billboard story was freaking hilarious. I don't know if we're still on it, but
we're just wrapping it up
could
about the
not stop
dystopia of
laughing.
having a giant sign that just plays porn outside of your house and you can't turn it off.
I think
We started talking about
I would
Brando
laugh.
and-
Love it.
That would actually bring me out of my depression so much.
Yeah, but like after a few weeks, you probably just want to break into it, right?
Well, yeah, of course, definitely.
Right. That's my theory.
I want to break
I'm
it
with
in
that
put
theory.
put in front of me, like.
Yeah,
Doesn't
no, I
have-
feel like
doesn't
that's
have to
probably
be.
what happened. Is these kids
Oh,
were like,
you think
or
it's
these
a
people were
local?
like, hey, yeah, they're like, hey, there's this obnoxious billboard that's always on the Windows thing. Let's screw with it.
Oh,
I mean, because like, who else just like, I don't know how would you have like parked on the side of the highway?
Well, so
No.
the Vice article shows a picture of him, like Pike said. It shows a
Yeah.
picture of the two guys. And it so Pike, did you say they actually did break in physically to do this hack?
Yeah, it says that
Yeah.
they actually had to break into a small shed that had the computer at the base of
Below
the
the
tower.
billboard. Okay, yeah, I see it. So, yeah, that's definitely. I don't know.
Crime a day. Crime a
I
day.
think-
That's okay. Crime a day. One crime a day.
One crime a day.
One crime a day, and hopefully they do more.
That was their day.
And so the next story that we have on here, I've been reading bits and pieces about this. This is Facebook and WhatsApp are signing an agreement to basically share encrypted messages with British police. I've also heard it about with U.S. law enforcement as well. But yeah, it's basically just instead of like trying to do a crypto backdoor like has been proposed many times, just having them agree to be able to subpoena these sorts of messages that they want is just the thing that they're going to be doing now.
Isn't WhatsApp owned by Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's really just Facebook agreeing to
Right.
this.
Yeah. Well, but WhatsApp is, I guess, people might use that and not make the distinction.
Yeah. Yeah. And I suppose
But, I
Facebook
mean-
Messenger is different.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like one of those things. I mean, a lot of companies will, gladly share the logs. WhatsApp has been, praised for being a bit more secure in certain ways. I mean, I don't really use WhatsApp, but I mean, a lot of people do. They have end-to-end encrypted messages, but I mean, they regardless, like the people who run the application server that you use, it's up to them. You know, they can do pretty much whatever they want. Doesn't matter what you want, really. They can just grab your
I don't
keys
know
or
about
whatever.
I don't know about you guys, but over here the politicians themselves use WhatsApp to speak to each other because it's encrypted.
Yeah.
So one of the things that, like, I don't know, I have a lot of mixed feelings about this. I think it's better than a crypto backdoor, but it's still not ideal. Like, the one thing I would be really concerned about is something like what China is doing with WeChat happening, right, where they go the censorship route, and that would be concerning. But I think it's better than a crypto backdoor.
I mean, did we put that up? There's no. I don't think that article made it on, but
Oh shit! Yeah, your other article that you sent me. What was that again?
I'll paste it in the chat. But hold on, let me just clean up because it's got nice tracking links on there.
UTM.
Friends don't send friends. UTM.
UTM equals 6 minus 1.
I really want a Chrome extension that just strips that out. I'm sure that there's one out there.
Oh yeah.
Just strip on and or any ands or any
So
ID equals UTM.
question marks.
I pasted it into the whatsy thingy, the Twitch chat.
Twitch chat.
I'll paste it into the other thingy as well, Matrix. But yeah, so like now, so this isn't exactly new, but you could already go to jail if you didn't hand over crypto keys. So this is the other direction that they were going. But if you were like surveilled accessing a machine, so they were known that it was known that you were accessing something that had crime on it, like evidence on there, and then you failed to hand over that password that was proven that you knew what it was, you could already do like consecutive 2-year stints in jail. Now Australia want to just fine you like 50 grand and put you into jail up to 60 grand, or put you in jail for 5 years if you refuse to hand over other passwords that police suspect you of doing a crime on. So you're not guilty at any stage at this point.
What's the conversion rate for Australian dollars in Australian years?
That's all I know.
I mean, it's like 30 grand or something. It's probably it's not. It's like probably about 47 or something.
So about 7 months for a year.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
But if you are suspected of terrorism, it's like up to 10 years in jail or $126,000.
Well, that's interesting. So that the suspected crime impacts the sentencing?
Yeah, it's the suspected crime. Like you don't even need, like they can just be like, hey, hand it over, and you can be like, fuck you, and they'll be like,
I wonder what would happen if you turned it over and it wasn't terrorism.
Yeah, well,
they'll get the 10 years, right?
Yeah, they just give you the 5 years. I don't know.
Hand it over. No, hand it over.
Yeah, what if you're like 6 years into it?
Yeah, so I don't know. This is just like another, like following on from the WhatsApp handing over stuff. Like, and there's no specific app or anything they're targeting. It's just like, hey, unlock your phone, unlock your laptop. And that's crazy. So before you travel internationally, just wipe all, open up Signal, delete all history, open up Telegram, delete all history, and then travel.
Or better yet, set exploding timers on all of them anyways.
But that'll leave who you've been speaking to. If you remove everything, it just
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
If you say exploding a lot in the airport while you're traveling, though, you'll end up
just rename everybody in your phone to like Mom.
Jihad.
Or that too.
There was one time I walked into an airport, slightly related, and I forgot my phone like ringtone was like Counter-Strike noises.
Come
so
on.
I got a text message.
Oh god.
Oh no.
Almost implanted, and I was like, oh.
I have a like a set of lockpicks that are kind of like a wallet card, and they the back of them is kind of rounded. So when you look at it on an X-ray, it looks like a bunch of tiny knives I totally didn't realize that I had them in my wallet until like I went through the security. Not
That's
fun.
great.
I think my only funny story is actually I carried a fully loaded machine gun on an airplane. I had to give up my tweezers because it didn't meet TSA policies.
Yeah.
That's my only
Want
fun
to tell
story.
us a little
That's
more
about it.
about that story, buddy? That sounds
I had a
like
machine gun. I was okay with it. That's all you need to know about that part. And I had to give up my fucking tweezers.
that's
Yeah.
very, very funny.
I hate
I'm
when they
assuming
take
you
your
checked
tweezers.
the machine gun though.
Yeah,
The
it was a
weirdest
machine
thing I
gun and 30 round ammunition. I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah,
Give up my
yeah.
tweezers.
The weirdest thing I had to give up was only handcuffs. They weren't even real. That was weird.
They're made of candy.
No,
God.
they were like made of metal, but you could open them like without a key. In case you
They're
wanted
kinky
to
handcuffs,
practice.
not secure handcuffs.
That's
No,
what I was
just in case you want
getting
to practice like picking the lock
Yeah,
behind your back, and then you want to get out. But also, maybe kinky, so who knows? But handcuffs. They don't
If
like
you got like one of those gigantic educational handcuffs, they probably.
The one with the different colored mechanisms. This
yeah. You're just like, what the hell is this?
It's to show you how it works.
I've got this really big culprit that I need to arrest.
He's also
E5 I smell the something. Okay, I'm gonna screw that up.
I need to arrest a giant 4-year-old.
All right, that's going to a dark place. Let's go ahead and stop that right now.
No.
So
Machine guns in the
let's,
airport are okay.
Yeah, just as long as we're not talking about little kids, we'll be fine.
Let's skip over this Chinese state-sponsored hacker story. It's just targeting utility stuff, but read that.
China doing China stuff.
The next one though is the one that I've really been waiting to talk about. This is the explosion about CrowdStrike that happened the day after our last stream. So yeah,
Oh God, yes.
this was some shit. This was such an insane thing to watch unfold. But yeah, so TLDR, Trump and the Ukrainian president talked about the things they talked about, the extortion stuff that he was doing. And he mentioned CrowdStrike though, in which I don't even know, like I feel like that was just like the trigger word for all the QAnon bots, because they literally went ape shit about CrowdStrike on every single, if you go to CrowdStrike's Twitter, every single one of their posts since that day is just littered with these insane bots, like posting like, you're fucked, like you're all going to jail, and like also these really blurry, crazy like arrow diagrams with like Clinton, CloudStrike, Uranium One, like every single fucking thing, and like they literally went absolutely insane about it. And this article just kind of sums it up, because this was like one of the earliest things that I saw posted, which was good because there's a lot of fake information going out saying that CrowdStrike was like owned by, Trump himself said that CrowdStrike was owned by like a Ukrainian or Russian billionaire. What was it? Basically just complete nonsense. Also saying that CrowdStrike is the ones who they refuse to let the FBI look at the DNC server, and that CrowdStrike alone is the only people who ever said anything about Russia hacking the DNC, and all this stuff is just like is patently not true. And
wait, isn't it though? Like a large portion of what you just said, I thought was actually the case. Like, didn't they do the forensics for Clinton?
They did.
FireEye also did a.
Yeah, there was multiple reports about this kind of thing that went out though, and what the lay people do not know is how DFIR works and like what any of this means. They think that like a server is like one single computer that like you have to get the server, like because Trump himself literally is like, we got to get the server, we got to ask the server what it has, like we have to ask the server, like ask the server.
But you got to remember that
like it's a person.
In this whole thing, so Trump CrowdStrike to Ukraine, like basically because he wouldn't have remembered CrowdStrike from the reports, right? From the email reports, because it was only mentioned, I think 4 times was the total number.
Yeah, it was like in like a footnote of like the Mueller report, which he definitely didn't read.
Exactly. Trump can't read anyway. That's the other part of this. So how did he remember it? And the reason, like, he remembers conspiracy theories, and so like, I would say, like, you know, after talking to a couple of people, that he's remembered this conspiracy theory about CrowdStrike. I even typoed that this week like a retard. But CrowdStrike, I would say he's remembered this conspiracy theory, gone in his head, gone Ukraine, say it on the phone, tried to like strong arm using this information or whatever, and then now looks like an absolute tard. And if you look at the tweet, that ThugCrowd tweet that went out, I believe it's still getting.
Oh, it's going. Yeah, I'm gonna post this in the chat. So we posted 2 memes that were about CloudStrike and this whole situation, which were just thinly veiled ones that were about. Hold on, I'm just gonna post them real quick. So this first one here got so much attention. I think it like got hit by like a hub account for like QAnon, because I had used a bunch of what's it called, like hashtags, right? And so like this first one, like the truth about CloudStrike is found here, or CrowdStrike, and then like all these stupid hashtags, like, and then Google what is DFIR, Google what is this before they take it down, and people like responded to it, like, yeah, like people literally as we're talking are still talking on these threads, and like they're putting like random stuff on here. This stupid, you know, Confederate flag Grim Reaper QAnon meme that I made. It just says, an server is a computer program that can run on a single computer or multiple computers. It is usually not a single physical object you can hold. That somehow has just entered the QAnon canon because there's.
Well, I think it's the graphics and like the font look like you have to look at it for a second and actually read what it's saying to get that it's not.
It's high level meme craftery.
It's using freedom colors too.
Yeah,
and the Confederate flag. So
yeah, and so then before they shut us down, share this. Google what is DFIR with like a Q and a gold anonymous mask, and then like QAnon hashtags. People also like retweeted this one and were all about it. And like it's like so weird because I put these out just not even thinking anything's gonna happen, and there's people all over the place that were just coming out of the woodwork to just comment on it, like just
if you were looking for Russian bots, if you look at who has liked and retweeted it, there are shitloads of obvious bot accounts.
You know, that's an interesting strategy. I'll bet you could do that to run like a counter disinformation campaign.
Yeah.
To like style it similarly to disinformation, use the right hashtags, and you could play the same game, but actually provide valuable information.
Yeah, so that's what I was trying to do, was actually put like Google what is DFIR, because if you Google what that is, then you will understand what this whole story is about, which most people don't have any clue about. Or Google what is a server, because people also seem to not know what that is either. But the interesting one though, like I just posted it in here. There's just Russian gibberish, right? That was like tweeted at it.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of that.
It got 21 likes and 9 retweets. Like on
it's
this.
Well, and there was multiple accounts that did that. It looked like.
Yeah, and so it's interesting to see like how like these bots then boost themselves up, and then it just creates this crazy black hole of like just recursive referential tweets to this, and then gibberish. There's a lot of ones that just have like single characters too, like just like S, G.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, just any sort of replies that boost stats make it seem more attractive to the algorithm.
I think there's a lot of bots in there as well, like just from looking that we're like, they're all like proud American mom, Trump supporter, 100%. Like,
I like how one of the bots, or at least one of the people who responded, is like angry at you for supporting Trump, even though if you actually look at the tweet itself, it has nothing to do with it.
They're so both sides are so dumb when it comes to
and it's like this account is almost definitely a bot. Like it's got like a generic photo, a bunch of letters, or a bunch of numbers.
There are idiots on both sides of this table.
Well, and there's bots on both sides too, right? Like you have disinformation campaigns and boosts on both sides.
But if you look at some of the legitimate people who have liked or whatever, and you put yourself in their shoes for a minute, and you see like 40 tweets in Russian that you don't realize there's a translate button on Twitter, like that's like sort of feeding into their head.
I don't think those tweets are even. I tried translating them. I don't think they even translate.
No, we talked to native Russian speakers in chat that
Yeah.
say that they're gibberish.
Yeah, like Google Translate thought it was Serbian.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
Mm.
there's like, but that doesn't matter that it's gibberish because to those,
Right, it looks scary.
it looks
Yeah.
scary. That's it, and that's what their goal is. Obviously, otherwise, I guess they probably would have said, Russian proverbs or something. Who knows? Like,
Yeah.
what's the lorem
Right.
ipsum of Russian?
Yeah. There's like, it's weird though when you like interact with something and then like, I don't know, you just see all the bots come out. It's just like a very interesting dynamic to see. Like, it's all Twitter is now. Like,
Yeah, if people want to do it, that are listening, if you want to do it and experience what it's like to get swarmed, definitely put a semi-inflammatory thing, not like screw Trump, but something
wonder-
that actually takes like a second.
I wonder if you put something like wholesome in it and just tagged it with the right hashtags and styled it in the right way. Like if you did do like "Have a nice day."
Exactly. put the American flag emoji in your username. Use MAGA as your hashtag, and then reply to one of Trump's tweets that he's just tweeted. Like, put notifications on, mobile notifications, and then be one of the first people to reply, and you'll get swarmed. You'll get swarmed.
So a thing I did a while back was I ran a honeypot bot Twitter account for a while. They would just take a bunch of hashtags and rank them based off of how frequently they were involved in a tweet. They got a lot of likes or retweets, and then just randomly generate tweets. I feel like it'd be really interesting to do that as responses to Trump tweets. Just choose from a list of like trending hashtags. Yeah, I'm sure that I get banned from Twitter, but like I'm sure that's also what they're doing.
Though. There are some
like
big
it takes a
companies
lot.
that are doing that all the time. But like even just responding to something, like Hermit responded to something. I posted it in the chat, and she got a bunch of
that was so good.
She got what?
I posted it in the Twitch chat just from
the last Twitter link.
It's just try to impeach this, and it's just like the map of like Pornhub searches like across America.
So good.
But yeah, that kind of stuff though. I mean, people just like random, like, I don't know, like there's people, like there's bots that just interact with like all the different things that they try to like boost whatever they think is something that is to them. Because if you look at any of the other stuff, the last tweet that I did before those QAnon ones was, here, I'll post that one in here. It's just, QAnon is fucking fake, you sad, lonely people. Please, your family misses you terribly. This was the last thing I tweeted before that, and we still got hundreds of interactions. So it's interesting to see that like people aren't reading the profiles, people aren't trying to have any discourse. They're just trying to strictly signal boost things and just there's no room for discourse at all. It's just all bots.
Well, I mean, you see this even, like with smart people, like, or seemingly smart people, right? Where you see a headline or like a headline post, and like the actual body like refutes like the clickbait headline, but people are still sharing it like incensed. And it's like, no, like if you read the article, like you'll see like what's actually happening here. But I mean, it happens all the time, that same sort of thing. Obviously, having to actually click it and read is a bit different than just reading what's presented in front of you. But
yeah,
I feel like it'd be interesting to look at if you have Twitter analytics enabled for that account. You can look at like the geographical region and like what Twitter thinks the interests are of the accounts that are interacting with the specific tweet.
They're usually smart enough to use VPNs in the US.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
But
and it's very possible that there's a lot of compromised accounts involved in that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
I wonder what the ratio is for that. That actually, man, there's so many good things that could be done.
How about
do forensics on it?
On the day that this all blew up, when these articles came out, like it was mentioned in another chat that imagine if you were the CrowdStrike guy on site at some place, and then just like some mad MAGA guy just comes up and is like, "Hey, so what about that server?" And you're like, "What are you talking about?
Where is this?
Where is it?" There's people that are friends of the show that work there, and they definitely have legitimate concerns about their personal safety, and I don't blame them one bit.
Yeah,
At the same
absolutely.
time, in a few months, once this kind of all blows over, there's gonna be some really great jokes in that Slack channel, I'm sure.
But what about
Somebody
like,
got some killer memes in there.
like who are the people that have the brains to walk up to somebody that just happens to work there and interact with them over this drama? Like, why is it acceptable? Like, it's totally acceptable for me to go up and confront random employee about something he probably has no idea about.
It's probably like the same people who go after Google or Amazon employees for like taking their jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or for shadow banning them. Like how Trump had that whole entire like summit about shadow banning. Like, yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
Oh, yeah,
there's
was that
been
the one where he,
people
like-
at who went to like YouTube headquarters and like legitimately like shot people, right?
Well,
like,
didn't Trump have a
shots
meeting?
over
Didn't Trump
like
have a meeting
being
with the
shadow
Twitter
banned or
CEO?
whatever?
He did. He had a meeting with
yeah.
them and a bunch of other like just wackadoo people. And they're just like, why do we not have any more followers? Like,
yeah.
Like,
that was right after they started doing like the bot ban waves, and it was like, oh,
Yeah.
my follower count went
So,
down.
like, yeah, and it's just like, oh, like you don't understand it, but you totally implicated yourself in something really stupid, and you look like an idiot, but you will never know. Yeah, it's good stuff.
I was so I know I missed the start of the show, but over the weekend I was I played around with the Nintendo Switch RCM like Tegra stuff, and reading about it turned out that there's a lot of people who write the wrong thing. So I ended up watching YouTube videos, which is where this relates back, of people showing you how like on the latest firmware how to hack like Switch, blah 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 blah. And they were really super painful to watch. Like the content was just so cringy. Like, I'm really dumb, but I figured out the way that you're supposed to like copy things to an SD card.
Yeah.
And like you have to download this thing from SourceForge that formats SD cards correctly. And like, okay, skip that step. But one of the guys was super mad that his videos were getting demonetized because he was showing people how to run like dumped games on the like. He was like, oh, Nintendo is super sensitive when it comes, they're oversensitive when it comes to showing how to like hack Switch. It's like, well, no, you're showing people how to like take money off other people. This is like it is piracy, you fool.
Actual
That's like why those systems exist, for sure.
Dude, it's weird. People like I feel like piracy's become so mainstream that people like forget it's a crime sometimes. Like
Well, and it's like also distributing a pirated content is different than downloading pirated content, right? Like if somebody's actively scraping or stealing content, that's a different level of abuse than if somebody's just watching that content.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean it's fucking everything's crazy now. I don't even know anymore. I'm so baffled by all these responses here.
It's like, how can you be smart enough to do one thing, but like dumb enough to realize that it's the wrong thing?
Well, it's the difference between common sense and technical knowledge, right? It goes back. One of my favorite
technical knowledge is very low.
Yeah, that's true. One of my favorite like things is the whole the bit in Jurassic Park where he's like, your scientists were too busy figuring out how to do whatever, but didn't think about if they should. And it's like it's the same deal with that shit. Like you're just, and yeah, it doesn't take a particularly large amount of technical knowledge for a lot of that. Yeah.
So speaking of all this stuff, we were trying to get Rudy Giuliani to get on here. We're still gonna try. If you guys want to use the hashtag #GetRudyOnTC.
You cut out right during the hashtag.
You're fading out.
Oh no! So we have this thing here. If you guys want to reply with #GetRudyOnTC and just use this hashtag anytime you want, feel free.
Sounds like we need a copy of that QAnon font there.
Yeah, I'll send it up.
Make sure you tie in your Magna and also QAnon hashtags and make sure the spots go ahead and retweet and like those as well.
If you ever want to talk to Rudy Giuliani about cybersecurity, he is the chief cybersecurity advisor to Trump.
Actually, I think it's the cybersecurity czar. Is the
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Can we get him and McAfee in the same call?
Yeah.
Oh,
Actually, you
just
know what?
like-
I guarantee he's talked with them before.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that we have. I think we have enough syllables for McAfee.
Oh, I have.
I don't know if we have enough narcotics for Giuliani though.
Yeah.
So here's the question: like, was Rudy Giuliani the mayor of New York in 1995 when Hackers was made? Because that is like such a tie-in right there.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We could talk to him about Hackers. We could talk to him about
2600.
We could talk to him about Joomla. Love Joomla. So big.
Wasn't
Joomla
there?
fan.
I remember people were looking at his site when that was first announced, and there was like some really sketchy, like 15 different ports open kind of things going on there.
Oh yeah, that site was amazing. His Joomla site.
Yeah, was it Joomla? Yeah.
Yeah, it was Joomla. It's still Joomla. It's not gonna change.
Oh, I wonder if he's updated the Joomla version recently.
I don't think
Probably
so.
not.
But you can double check though.
Yeah, sorry.
But,
speaking of ridiculously insecure web platforms, did we put the V-Bulletin bug?
We talked about that last week.
Yeah, we talked about it last week, but we brought up last time that there, like a bunch of data dumps would happen, and whoop-de-doo, a bunch happened.
Oh, they did too. Yeah, that was a good one. But anyway, back to Giuliani.
No. We can talk about that. There's actually we put it here in the cheat code section. Somebody had released an automated tool to identify what's it called, vulnerable V-Bulletin instances using Shodan. Mass pwn V-Bulletin in the cheat code section of our show notes. But yeah, there's definitely been a lot of interesting work with that.
There's been a lot of like back and forth and the obvious stuff.
Oh, I'm not sure if this is a V-Bulletin dump, but one of the funniest dumps I saw in the week was actually a bestiality website got dumped, and with all the users' emails, IP addresses, and activity on the site. So,
man,
all to those people, unlucky. Maybe you should get a better hobby.
Sounds like there's a field office that's got to go through some work this weekend.
Yeah, I think it's something like 40,000 plus users or something. I guess that's.
Oh my god!
I guess considering it's such a niche thing, I guess it's kind of big. I don't know.
Bestiality is illegal, right? Is it? I think it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's illegal federally, is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. You got to wonder, like, how do they go out? Do they go after all those people? Probably not.
Probably not. But I mean.
But like, let's say there's a breach. There's 40,000 people. You had evidence of every single one of them committing crimes. That would be such like a. I don't know if you'd be able to do that. That'd be a multi-year. Well, yeah, but like arresting 40,000 people. I mean, I'm not saying that was the case, but that would be crazy.
I think it would be the case, like if you had a list, like you just knew these people, like you basically have the dump. So you're like, okay, these people they've done something, and you cross-reference that against your POIs that you're already interested in. I mean, that's that's the other rule, like one crime at a time type deal.
Yeah, but like let's say that those people like had to do something illegal to join the site, right? And you had a dump of 40,000 of them. Like, I don't know, would there be enough police resources to go after 40,000 individuals?
I don't think there'd be enough police cares to go after.
You'd really need to have like the severity of the crime, I guess, would have to come into a deep because
I mean, it's also like the child pornography sites that have been hacked, right? Like those are the kind of things where you definitely often have to, people do illegal shit to get into them. And like that's something that's a pretty outrageously terrible thing. So I don't know how you would go after all of the people involved.
There's very few organizations that have the scope in order to do that. I mean, mind you, like I said, not always going to be U.S. based. So it's like more pressing matters is what it comes down to.
I guess if there's somebody who's in immediate danger, that might be part of it.
Yeah,
more pressing matters.
Yeah, but again, like if you're dumb enough, like well, you're already dumb enough if you're already on that side. But when selecting your site for crime, if it says V-Bulletin and it's on the regular internet or PHP-BB,
and it's on probably like a shared host.
It's on like a cPanel thing. Just before you think about committing the crimes, just close the browser and go the fuck outside, because that is some dumb shit.
Yeah, but stay away from animals if you are going outside.
Yeah,
Please.
Please think of the animals, please.
Oh, so I forgot to mention this important thing here. I'll throw this into our chat. This week we launched with Skelsec his POC for his web version of PyPyCat. So pbk.thug is really, really cool. If you know about or have used PyPyCat before, maybe don't do this for
Losing you, man.
extracting memory dumps.
You're cutting out.
Am I? Is someone
It's just the longer you talk, the lower you go.
Weird. Hold on one second. I'm trying to think. Is that me?
Yeah.
It sounds like a cable, like a grounding or something. I don't know.
Oh, you know
try
what?
muting everybody else.
It might be. Hold on. It might be the cable. That's an interesting point. Thanks. All right. I plugged my phone in. I plugged my phone in, so that's probably some static there. Sorry about that. So.
Yeah, there it is.
That's not me. I just muted myself.
That was buses.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, buses.
Air conditioner, my bad.
All good.
So, ppk.thug is the web version of PyPyCats, which can pull information out of LSAS memory dumps. It can pull secrets out of registry hives. If you ever pulled passwords out of there, hashes and things like that, you can parse all of those in the browser on your local machine using ppk.thug, because it doesn't. It just basically downloads a WebAssembly binary and it runs his script in your browser and is able to parse all of this stuff, so you don't have to install or even have what's it called, Mimikatz or anything like that on your the machine that you are using to pull this information from legally.
Yeah,
but
no,
yeah,
it's super cool.
Yeah, it's awesome, and he Skillsec he had Excel make the front end, and it looks really awesome, and it's looking really cool. So definitely try it out.
Yeah, one of the things is I just put a link into chat. Skillsec on the GitHub wiki there, or on the GitHub page, is asking for LSAS mini dumps. I mean, obviously they have credentials in them, but just like for testing the project. So if you have access to dumps from things that are not your own machine and you have permission to upload.
I would suggest a thing that I used for testing this was someone's from Hack the Box. So if you have anything like that,
that's a good call.
It's actually really, really nice for Hack the Box if you are able to grab some files. Say you have some file download ability, but you don't have a login yet. If you can grab any of the registry hives or anything like that, you can crack the passwords in the browser.
Well, and then another fun thing about this is that PyPyCats is not detected by a lot of the AVs that catch Mimikatz, just because they just haven't updated signatures for it, and the cross-platform stuff is really cool as well.
Yeah,
that's an interesting thing as well with PyPyCats is that a large portion of like the Python interpreter itself, like when you package it up, is not malicious. So
yeah, well, and you have Python on a large number of machines by default as well.
Yeah, well, not in Windows land, but yeah.
But when it's just useful because installing or bringing any binary onto a system is tough. So he has an open source version of it, I believe he's putting out. It takes a bit because you have to compile it. It's a kind of a laborious process. So he had made and packaged up. We packaged up all the binaries and put them on the server that runs ppk.thug. So if you are wanting to test it out, definitely go for it. If you have any suggestions or PRs or issues, definitely the GitHub is linked on the page and it's in the chat as well. If you are somebody who is interested in either contributing to this or do something weirder with it. But yeah, it's definitely a cool project. We like to see stuff like this and give as much airtime as we can to it because it's cool.
Yeah, for sure. Skillsec just keeps pumping out bangers.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. Go follow him on Twitter.
Real good work.
And like
Yeah.
speaking of people with the show that are doing cool stuff, we put it off because we were pinging MG to see if we could get his attention, but he's busy working still. So
Absolutely
we should
fine. We can
probably-
talk to him. We can talk to him another time too. So we'd
Yeah,
love
you
to
want to
hear
just save it? Talk
Yeah,
to
we can
him
save it.
Okay, yeah, that works.
Yeah, we got a lot of cool cheat codes this up here. We have a lot of really interesting write-ups that have come out and some cool tools and things. My favorite though was this one I'll post. This is from shout out to HackLook for this how to exit Vim repo. Is a lot of really awesome resources for exiting Vim. So check that out.
This is that's actually really funny. So like Ugly Packets, Ash, who's a very smart man who does very smart things with computers, his touch bar crashed on his work machine, so he had no escape key. Lol.
Yeah, that was really funny.
For real. So that's a good read.
There is a
if your
daemon
touch
you
bar
can
crashes.
restart for that, by the way.
Yeah, I'm sure there is, but it's like lol.
That's a much better way.
I remember at one point somebody had a pretty solid GitHub dork for just like WQW in just like people trying and failing to exit. Trying to remember what it was. But yeah, you could just see like there's so much stuff like that where people are just like accidentally pressing the wrong keys.
Or like where people are like editing the web page on the live server and then they fuck up
So-
exiting.
Oh, that's
One of
so
the best
cool.
ones that I've seen was there's an extension called Cloud to Butt that changes every instance of the word cloud to butt. And so for a while you could look on GitHub, you could see a bunch of references to buttflare.com. And somebody actually registered the domain and said, I think they put up a message. It's like, you got the wrong site, buddy.
Love it.
So from the cheat codes this week, one of the ones that I thought was the funniest is the XM heap buffer overflow.
Oh yeah, it's that denial service.
Yeah, but where it is hilarious because it's literally in the LHO. It's literally a long ass LHO.
What is
No,
it?
like the very first message you send when you connect to an SMTP server, like the very first thing.
Oh, that's very funny. Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
that's like
That's like oh
it's
man,
like
I really want to run
There was a
AFL Plus
Solaris
against
bug, I
that.
want to say, where you just hit enter and on login screen when you telnet it to it, and it would just bypass the login.
One of my favorite ones is the double auth header that you can set, like we've got a bunch of that kind of bug where you send the auth packet and then you send it a second time with a different identity and it just doesn't check when it sets the username the second time.
You mean when it like so you have like a hash or whatever, like or a list, and the same entry is overwritten, like has the same key.
It's yeah, I mean it's just like a logic bug that is I've seen in a lot of different things. But yeah, you send an authentication packet that's valid, and then you send a second one with a different user that's invalid in the same section. And it's like, oh, set the username.
Yeah. Hey, actually, did we? Oh wait, that's still on the list. Are we gonna get to TJX6?
Please, God, yes.
Are we still going?
We are. I think you might be muted.
Oh wait, I was muted. Cool. So I was gonna say TJX6 was arrested for scamming. The way that literally this kid, his raps are terrible, but he was out there hustling and carding, and he got arrested for hustling and carding and
what?
Big fucking surprise. There is a
There's an entire subgenre now.
In the Goodreads of course section, there's a video about TJX6 and GuapDead 4000 about scam rap. The scam rap is becoming pretty popular. I mean, it reminds me of like Sakawa. It reminds me of like just rapping about fraud, like specifically.
So, this is so. I actually found out this like about what's his name? I forgot it. TJX6. Yeah. I found out about this guy because Whitey Cracker linked him to me and was like, "Lol, this guy has nothing to do with Digital Gangster or anything, but it's the same vein. It's just now that it's back to the mainstream. Like there's people from DG who are like obviously Whitey Cracker rapped about different like scams and things back in the day. And now this guy who's like totally unrelated to like the hack scene is just started doing sort of like a very similar thing. The only difference is this guy's definitely going to go to jail.
You know, it really is like it's neat though, right? Because it's like, right, instead of being out there on the streets fucking slinging drugs, all that shit, they're literally just doing crime from the comfort of their own home, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like when they talk about it, they talk about like this is the, you know, the next evolution, right?
The next wave.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah,
shit, it's
I
a
will
lot
say it's-
like even if they're doing crimes badly, they're at least doing it from a safer space.
Yeah, but that kind of defeats the point of rapping about being cool and doing crimes, right?
That's
Like if it's safe, that makes it less gangster.
Well, he went to jail, so how safe was that?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I mean,
it's still safer than going out on the street and selling drugs.
Is it? I thought you could do prosecuting attorneys use lyrics and rap
Yes.
in evidence?
It depends. Artistic. It's art, so.
Like people like
hard
Bobby
to-
Shmurda and
Yeah, that
6ix9ine both got bopped for stuff like that though. Because
so-
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about an actual event.
I mean,
Yeah.
it leaves detectives to a place where they can easily take evidence
Of
and
course.
do that. So I
Of
think
course,
that's
but what
more.
I'm saying is, it's kind of for plasmas. Is it something that is common where they just are like, yeah, this rapper was rapping about
You have
this?
to have probable cause first to even look at that. But I mean, if you are already getting implicated in a crime and then you have a lyric that's just like, yeah, and then I went to this place and I shot this guy.
Yeah, like if you're describing the exact details of the crime, right? Like I think it probably depends on how close it is and like if it's actually related. But I'd imagine that they could use that as additional evidence to be like, he described the exact details of this crime as it went down, and there's no way they could have gotten that.
There's actually there's a joke in the Boondocks about this, where he's like, 3:00 yesterday, hit him with the Hennessy, and he's like, oh shit.
Yeah, no, that's literally it's like a meme in rap, as people do get go to jail for that kind of stuff. It's like because if you are out there and you are talking about specifically the things you're doing, it's just it's the same as like just when someone comes into like a chat and starts bragging about something that they did. Like, it's just like, yeah, you could just be playing a part, but if there's the right person listening and they know the situation that you're describing, then it'll get you in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, there's also cases, right, where people are rapping about things their friends have done in the first person.
Yeah.
And so it's like you have to, like I said, it has to be tied because it's artistic expression, which is protected speech.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of getting at.
Yeah, I mean, so it's like if they know you have, right? There's a difference between knowing you did it and knowing you have knowledge of the thing, right? So if they know you have knowledge of the thing, right, you could be probably be held for contempt if nothing else.
Well, I think it's also protected speech doesn't necessarily mean because like they wouldn't try you for the speech itself, but it's like it's like if somebody's in a phone call and they're talking about oh yeah, I stabbed this person. It's like you could just say, oh yeah, I was joking about it, or it was about my friend in first person.
No, you can't do that. That's not how that works. It's because it's artistic expression, which is much different. It's like Tupac shot No, it's like Tupac like rapped about shooting cops and all this shit all the time, right? Like if you're just able to prosecute anyone for the things they say, like that's not exactly how it works.
Well, that's kind of my point, is that like that alone is not enough to prosecute somebody.
But that's never usually the case, though. Usually they already have a case against somebody for gang-related stuff or other fraud stuff.
Yeah.
And then that's just the icing on the cake for the people that are investigating. Oh, well, you told us exactly where you did something. Now we know where to look.
It's it's circumstantial. They can bring it up in court. But
like How to Kill a Cop. Yeah. And that's like straight up it's on the verge of inciting killing cops. You know what I mean? It's like How to Kill a Cop, and even right back like s2e Cop Killer, like obviously. But there's a big thing here. The difference is if you're gonna make this artistic comment and like say this stuff like that, maybe you don't want to like. There's a difference between knowing about applying a method, say in this case scamming, there's knowing about how to do certain types of like petty larceny and actually doing those petty,
Right.
like, maybe if you use a really specific technique that will obviously implicate you, don't rap about that. Maybe go back to and rap about your, like, you know, the generic technique that could be applied by anyone in any scenario. Like for the dead prez, like that dead prez, I forget the name of the track, where they go, you know, we're gonna go to the DMV, get ID. The name says you, but the face is me, or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
And they talk about they're gonna rob the pizza guy and all that stuff. Like, they didn't actually rob a pizza guy, but they're like, this is the technique, you know.
Well,
I think
this is
it's
how the
also
buffer overflow.
Like, easily they could have.
Well, then maybe they did.
So
I think also just like if you're going to be rapping about something like that, you can change details. You don't have to say 3 a.m.
Exactly.
3 a.m. It's like at 3:45 a.m. You know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It seems like at a certain point you're just kind of it's bad OPSEC.
Right.
If you have read any of his actual lyrics, though, you'd probably laugh at how blatant they are and how they specifically tell different things. Like, I'm about to give y'all a free method, but don't burn it out. Drop 40, get a prepaid phone, and make a Zelle account. That'll probably be by the time this song comes out. Like, it literally just says exactly like, depending on what site you use, click CVV. Like, wait 10 minutes and the money should be in your account. Like, it's literally just like it's reading one of those stupid word documents.
Yeah. Wow.
Well,
I kinda like
his
that,
album was called like the
listen to
Scam Bible, and it came with the album and also what he called the Scam Bible, which was like written
That's
documentation.
actually that's a good tactic to avoid guides like that getting taken down.
What do you mean?
Like, I'll give him that. Like, if you were to actually, if that was your goal, was to distribute methodology or like drop a 0 day,
sure,
you know, people aren't going to remove a rap song about it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he actually had
Can you imagine?
actual documentation with it too, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Has anybody here read any of those kind of methods that are out? Like, are you familiar with like the format that they're in?
Yeah, it's like a text file and encoded as a PDF.
It's like a PDF. It's just like in like Calibri font that just says like it's just like, I don't know. It's for me sometimes I look at that stuff and I'm just like think back to like when this kind of stuff used to be distributed like a long time ago, and it had like cool ASCII art, and now it's just like a screenshot of somebody's iPhone notes.
Right.
I think the difference is that it's like it used to be a lot more like it required a lot of effort to, I don't know, a lot of these methods didn't exist, but I feel like a lot of times now it's either for notoriety or for money that people are doing this.
No, it's just straight up for money. It's not even for like I can do this or like I could do this. It's like I'm going.
Although distributing guides is usually for notoriety, because like I don't see how that unless you're selling it, right? Like
people sell them. They're sold, and like it's like weird.
Yeah.
You see the ones that have been leaked and like they're just terrible. Like they're such like
just Word documents like with, like you said, terrible fonts and just awful looking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like the thing about like a lot of the scamming and whatnot is they're not always like necessarily computer savvy, right? So a lot of it
it's written for somebody in a
being
call
done
center.
by people who have you know, kind of negligible computer skills, but like the SE aspect.
If you have some time, I did link the Book of Spam live journal. So Almighty Spam God, praise him eternal. Take a knee, all that shit.
CC's greatest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This live journal's been around for a while and it's still going. Occasionally it gets updates. And that's the Bible. There you go.
Wow, it's actually in a readable format. That's weird.
This is a holy text.
Yeah, that's true.
But
praise be.
Yeah.
Praise
be. I'm glad that I don't know what I'm glad about anymore.
I'm glad
you just got back from vacation, man. That was quick.
I'm still on vacation. I'm reading all these the good reads things. I'm like thinking of anything else I wanted to say on them before we go. But yeah, there's so many stupid ones. Like read like the Police Lives Matter Facebook page that was just run from Kosovo. Like there's so much of this kind of crap here.
Cambria Analytica was
Might as well say
Ran
it.
a lot of
What
that.
happened with it?
What about the demonetized YouTube words?
Oh
And
yeah.
Ask the,
So
ask
yeah.
the question, dude.
that-
Ask yourself this question right now. Why isn't Ass Pirate demonetization?
Why isn't what?
Ass Pirate.
I don't know. We
Right.
should try some stuff
Look at
too.
it. Read it. It's amazing.
Huh.
This
I don't
Google,
know,
so
man.
these people, these YouTubers, Nerd City had done a pretty cool test of the YouTube like filtering for demonetization, and they basically were able to discern a list of words that would pretty much guarantee you that you would be demonetized if you had them in your videos description and titles. So yeah, definitely check that out because it's really interesting. They also have a video that they put out about it as well.
This is a
so yeah,
wild list.
it's pretty cool though. It's the same as when you find like filters, like word filters. I think we had found, I think it was Zero that had found the Dick's Sporting Goods list of filtered words. Like I love reading them because it's just like
I really
there's
like
so many-
the acronym list that we found. That was a killer.
Oh
one.
yeah, that too. This is a crazy week. So yeah, this is. Let me put this in here real quick. So a couple days ago, we were. I think it was Hermit who had found a link to McGruff's Safeguard
Browser for Kid.
Browser for Kids.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
McGraw.
Oh my god.
It was a web browser that was made by the people who like the National Crime Institute or whatever it is. They had made a web browser that was for kids that was basically like a rat for your kids like to like use as a web browser.
Yeah, it was a child protection.
Yeah.
Block scary stuff. Figure out what your kid is doing online. It's pretty standard.
It was definitely interesting, but inside of it, we took it apart, right? And also, there's a domain that it reaches out to for authentication that doesn't seem to work anymore, so we couldn't even activate the software. But we did register the domain, so we're going to be doing some fuzzing on that to see if we can get this thing to actually activate or make a crack for it. But the McGruff Safeguard thing inside of the files, there was two lists. So one of them was this list of acronyms that are just acronyms that that are be filtered, and then the definition of the acronym. And there are some very, very, very bizarre and also incredibly outdated acronyms in here.
There's some really meta ones too that are great.
Oh yeah. There's
I
like
can only
ones that are
imagine.
referencing like MIT and stuff like as if.
Well, I love the Usenet ones. Those were good.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Well,
No, there's
the
so
kids
much
these days are
fun.
talking.
Like alt chat up black helicopters. Mm.
So they have
Well,
that, and they
yeah.
also have the list of emote icons, which are just emoticons. But there's just a definition of all of them. And a lot of these are like stuff that, I mean, this is like stuff that used to be in like PHPBB, those things like that, where you would post these and it would make a little tiny stupid emoji for it.
Is your
Hell yeah,
child
BB
sending
code.
winky faces to other kids?
I like the Homer. The Homer Simpson one was really cool. That's my favorite.
Yeah, they had Bender and Homer emoticons, and like 3 for Reagan and 3 for Elvis too.
Yeah. So yeah, this is awesome though. We were in there just like laughing at this for like so long, and I haven't finished taking apart the rest of the Barney, but I do have the files if you're interested. You can, yeah, they use this weird sketchy CNET downloader and a bunch of other stuff that has to happen. So we're have to figure out how to actually get it to activate. But once we do, we'll report back. And on BB diagrams. Did anybody have anything else before we get going though? 'Cause it's getting kind of late.
I want to meet McGruff the crime dog now.
Me too. I love this. Plasma.
Oh, can we? Yeah.
The be gay, do crime meme is fucking incredible. I love this.
Can we also drop the? Can we drop the torrent for his? We have it somewhere for the McGruff the Crime Dog Kids Mix or whatever that was.
Oh yeah, I don't know what that is.
Neat.
Love to just post it somewhere on Twitter.
Yeah. Oh, I've got it. Here.
Oh my god. Who made this? Somebody made Mind Flayer. Rudy Giuliani with a CLSSP.
Nice. That is
God.
wonderful.
We're gonna
God
post
bless
this
you.
after. Just watch Twitter and you'll see it. This
God
is
bless
incredible.
you.
God bless his heart.
That's very funny.
That's awesome.
That's fucking really so
So many
fucking
Rudies
funny.
have- oh my god. Sideways. This one is
Dude, are you
All right.
are you
we're gonna-
posting it or should I? You want me to post it?
Oh man, that's
Oh,
amazing.
we can just have a thread. Yeah, let's get off the stream. We'll talk to y'all later. Thanks for listening. Shut the fuck up and get a lawyer.
Yes.
PK, 2 crimes.
If Mackesy does it, don't do it.
Hack the planet.
Also, don't forget to use the hashtag GetRudyOnTC. We'll try to talk to you next week. See you guys.